Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Revisiting Disney. This is the series in which you guys pick an attraction, and I go and I play Imagineer for a day and just sort of talk about how I would sort of revamp it, but keep it within the spirit of the ride, or maybe totally replace it. Who knows? Last episode, I did It's a Small World, and you guys all picked for the next one, It's Tough to Be a Bug. Now, this is an interesting one. Let's start walking in and checking out the queue here on MC Magic. This is a tough one because it sort of has a pretty predetermined structure to it, right? You know, the history of this ride sort of, I think, guides the direction that the attraction took, which is that they built this tree, and then afterwards they sort of decided we should put something in this so it's not just this empty tree, and that's when they decided to put a 3D show in, and actually that's when, you know, they were trying to think of what to put in there, and the story is that, you know, Pixar was working on this film, and it was about being a bug, and the ride actually, or the attraction actually opened, I think it was a couple of months before the movie came out. But so there you have it. You have this sort of theater underneath the tree. It's a 3D, sort of almost like a 4D experience, you could say, where, you know, the bugs will sort of crawl under your butt and you'll smell stink bugs and stuff like that, as Disney is known to do. So I was trying to really think about how I would go about revisiting this, right? Because you can't just wipe out the whole premise of it being a 3D film and then put an attraction in there. There's not enough space for that. So I came up with like two answers. I feel like there's no one answer. Sometimes I'll have an answer where, you know, I'll walk away going, yes, this is it. This is what it has to be. And then other times, like now, I think I have a couple of decent ideas, and I think one might be great. So one is, of course, just changing the theme of the film, right? Keep it a 3D film, change the style of it, make it, I guess, more nature-driven rather than bug-driven. But that's like a really boring answer, right? I hope you guys don't come here to hear like super simple answers like that. So here's my big one. Okay, so you have a theater. Maybe you don't have room for a ride, but what about room for a simulator ride? Like we've got with Star Tours, like we had with Body Wars. The idea is that you get in this little simulator, it moves, it shakes, it gives you this sort of simulated experience. It is a ride, but it is small and doesn't move, so it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. Now, I think this would be interesting for a couple of reasons. Mainly because when you look at Star Tours, you look at Body Wars, those are very sci-fi driven attractions, right? They're attractions that sort of support the concept of a simulator because you can make it a diegetic piece of the experience and call it, you know, a ship, a spaceship, or a, you know, a little ship that they put in your blood cells, your bloodstream. But, you know, we've never really seen an organic version of that simulator concept, and I think this would be a cool place to do that. Now, the theme of, you know, or the title, I should say, of this attraction is It's Tough to Be a Bug, and the idea is it's sort of, you know, it shrinks you down to the scale of a bug and tries to give you a little bit of that experience. What if you did that on a more complex level? So you have this simulator, it's under the Tree of Life. The idea is you are shrinking and you're becoming, you know, bug-sized, and you're experiencing what life is like to be a bug in this simulator. So maybe, you know, this is the simulator's on the back of an ant and it's shaking and moving as you're crawling through this, you know, elaborate ant farm or something like that. Or maybe you're on the back of a flying bug that's flying around on this really small scale version of Earth, or large scale, I guess you could say. Just those different point of views. And then I decided, why limit it to being a bug? Why not just do that as a nature thing? Why not make this a simulated experience where you get to experience the world that we all know, but through the eyes of all these different types of wildlife? Maybe eagles, so you have your flying, or, you know, dolphins and sharks, so you see what it's like underwater. Just seeing the world through all these different, you know, perspectives. Maybe even go prehistoric. Imagine what it'd be like to be the size of a T-Rex, and, you know, you're sort of experiencing that movement and experience as you just stomp on through, you know, the jungle, and all these little dinosaurs are running away from you. That sort of thing I think would be really cool. I think it would give them a fantastic opportunity to sort of upgrade the quality of what's out there. I think when it comes to film or anything that shows up on screen, especially now that stuff is so heavily CG like dependent, you see it becoming aged really quickly. And the Animal Kingdom is relatively new compared to all of the other parks, and so this attraction's relatively new. Keyword there, relative. But it's still kind of starting to feel age, and I think this would be a great experience. I mentioned this in many other attractions that I revisit, but now that you own Lucas, you own ILM, right? So you've got that amazing studio house that you can put to work to make some fantastic visuals. I think that would be really awesome. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I think it would breathe some new life into this attraction. You know, it doesn't have to be the most exciting attraction. It doesn't have to be the kind that, you know, you have to slap a warning on before you go in. I think one perk of It's Tough to Be a Bug is it's a sort of experience you don't have to be a certain age to enjoy. You could be young and just sit there, and you could be an older person and you're not, you know, being physically thrown through the gauntlet there. So, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be a super exciting simulator ride, but a simulator ride nonetheless I think would be really fantastic. It would bring some high tech to the park. It would add, I think, a more in-demand attraction. You know, we talk about the Animal Kingdom not having enough e-ticket attractions. I don't know if this would be e-ticket per se, but it would at least be, I think, more than what the public perceives a show to be, which is, I think, sort of a tacked on experience. And I think it would be cool to just experience nature through all these different perspectives. And then, you know, whenever you have a setup like that or a system like that, the benefit is you can change up the ride relatively cheaply by just swapping out the experience that you're going through. Maybe start with bug stuff, and then in a couple of years switch to flying animals or swimming animals, or just mix up new animals. It's a way that you can keep the ride new and fresh without having to totally replace the entire infrastructure. So anyway, that's what I would do to revisit It's Tough to Be a Bug if I were Imagineer for a day. Let me know what you think. Maybe you think that's a great idea. Maybe you think it's an awful idea. You love the show as is. You don't want to change. Let me know in the comments below. More importantly, if there's an attraction you'd like to see me revisit, also let me know in the comments below. I very often pick what I'm going to do next based on what you guys throw at me in the comments. Anyway, have a great week. Whatever you're doing, make the most of it because it makes it that much better. And I hope to see you all next time for the next episode of Revisiting Disney. Bye, everybody.